us thumbs up if you like what you're watching, what you're hearing. Please share this video, share the love. I feel like we deserved it today, girl. We put in work to make this happen. Give us that quick share. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a member of a wine club that's like 5 minutes away from my place. So I'm going after this.
Can I come?
Yeah.
Perfect. So yay, I'm excited. Let's get started. I thought this would be a great way to end Women's History Month, is to have a woman that's been super supportive, a woman that's been someone that has supported Livin Latina and me on a personal level too. Since I met you, I had the pleasure of meeting Nicole through the Houston Latina bloggers. So that was awesome. And you were the first platform, the first person that gave Livin Latina exposure and a chance to use your platform to kind of expand our viewing audience and celebrate our premiere. That was back in June of last year when we launched. So I want to thank you for that. And I just want you to know that I'm never going to forget that. You're going to be our first hero without a cape. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love you. But since June, how's the magazine doing? How are you doing? What's been up?
Yeah, so since June, the magazine, June of last year? Yeah. So June 2017. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The magazine has just taken off. I think because last year I was able to focus a lot on networking because I was done with grad school. And so just getting like more exposure, more people knowing about it, more people wanting to get to know me with it. And so it's just been a really cool experience. Like this last February, you saw like Fashion Week and got to see you guys for the first time. So it's been a really cool ride. And then in October, October of last year, we had our first female founders event. So just been like picking up.
That's awesome. So yeah, I finally got to meet Nicole in person because I feel like I've known you for a couple years now. But I finally got to meet Nicole in person last month in February, and it landed around the same weekend as my husband's birthday. So we just made it a little celebration, and she joined in on the fun. We got to do drinks and dinner. So that was so cool. I was like, yay, finally I can I knew your face, obviously. Social media is amazing in that. Yeah. But I could finally put a face to the digital you, I guess.
Yeah.
If we call it that. So that was really, really cool. Is anybody else enjoying this beautiful weather? I mean, I feel like in Houston, we've been stuck in this gray, since Harvey, everything's just been kind of crazy. So if you guys hear the rustling of the leaves, the palms, the palm trees, I'm outside of my house today. I just wanted to make it comfortable and something relaxed so that I could just make this interview as pleasant for you as possible, Nicole. But
yeah. No, today we have it's sunny skies, but it's still pretty cold because it's been raining the last couple of days, so it's still a little chilly.
So yeah, so let's keep moving. Again, I apologize for the technical issues. I'm so sorry. I didn't think it would come down to this, but we're here and let's have some fun. Okay, so if you want to tell everybody a little bit about the magazine, how did it start and when did you start the magazine?
Yeah, so the magazine started in 2013 as a wedding blog. So when I started the magazine, I didn't have a marketing plan or a business plan or even just a promotional plan or a logo or anything because I just was going to write about my wedding. So I was getting married in August 2013 and I really missed writing. I did a lot of freelance writing before that. During that time, I was still working in the nonprofit sector, and I just wanted to write something I wanted to write about, And my first article ever was debating between two dresses, and it's so funny. I feel like I should share it again because it's just it's
that would be an awesome throwback, your first post.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, and it was So once the wedding was done and people were giving me a lot of good feedback and they liked the writing and I didn't realize how much I missed creating content that I wanted to create because, as a freelance writer, you have to write in the voice that, yeah, what they tell you. And so I decided in 2014 to make it into a lifestyle magazine, still with no game plan really. And 2014 was just creating more content, and then 2015 I think is really when we figured out what we wanted to write about, and I also got to bring on different people, part of the team. So yeah, I'm gonna move you guys one more time. Sorry.
Not a problem, girl. At this point of the day, with the struggle to go live, you can move anywhere you want.
It's just now like.
So yeah, this is kind of weird to me because I see people joining and I'm just like, I'm so not used to going live on my personal page, and I just feel like it's a whole lot of friends watching me. It's a different it's a different ball game. It's isn't that crazy how um like depending on your audience and depending who you're around, it's kind of like the social media is definitely it's a tricky game. Speaking of technology, how do you think technology and social media affects you and your magazine, whether positively or negatively?
Yeah, so I had like this glare now, but it sort of makes me look very angelic in a way. All right. But I should take a picture of how my phone is set up right now, guys. It's funny. So the social media is just such a, with any publication and for any entrepreneurs, you need social media to get your voice out there,
Mm-hmm.
But it's this tricky game you have to play because it's almost like you have five personas, right? You have like your personal, like
Mm-hmm.
what your close friends and your family knows about you. Then you have like your business persona online and then your fun persona online. So it's just a lot of balance.
Yeah.
So for me, sometimes social media could be very negative, just me towards me as an entrepreneur because I'm always hustling. And in the Bay Area, we have so many events every night. It's like I could be busy every night.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see friends at all these different events, I'm like, oh, I should be hustling more. And so it just pushes me and sort of gives me more anxiety. And then you have to constantly check yourself. For the magazine, it's social media does help out a lot, but then at the same time, it can be negative when you get negative feedback about your content,
Mm-hmm.
and especially about because it's your baby. You create content, and then people want to write something negative about it. Luckily, I get more positive than negative, but I think we both know, you and I, like you focus more on the negative than the positive. And I
Unfortunately,
remember,
yeah.
yeah, and I remember my husband's like, well, why are you gonna have this one negative comment ruin your day? And it was like on a weekend, and we're like enjoying like wine tasting, and I'm just so upset about like this one comment.
Yeah, that's so true. I can totally relate to you, especially when you mention content, because I feel like as a woman and just in general, I don't know about you, but in like the Latina community, sometimes people closest to you can be so blunt, like, dang girl, you gained weight, or oh, you haven't gotten your pre-baby body back. Like, no, I like pizza and torta, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But whenever someone has a negative comment about like the content you created, that article, that post you put up, I feel like that gets to me worse because I'm like, you guys don't understand how much work goes into a blog, a magazine,
Mm-hmm.
a social media post. Whenever you're posting on it in a business mode and a business mindset, it's not just a picture. So I totally relate to you, especially because I feel like so much time and effort goes into it because you want to be, like you said, you see people hustling and doing good, and that's great. But that motivates you to be like, I want my content to be just as good or better. Not in a vicious
Yeah.
way, but I take it almost as like a competitive nature. Like you want to do good. You want each post, each article, each interview to be bigger and better than what was before. And speaking of posts, how long would you say that each content you create, each post or each article you write for your magazine, how long do you think it takes you to create one?
It varies, unfortunately. So, creating content is being creative, right? This is a very creative field. And
Yes.
sometimes I just don't have that creative energy. It could just be I'm more focused on the business side. It could be I have something personal going on. I wish I could say I'm creative every day, but there's just some days where I'm like, nothing's coming to me. Like I'm looking at my laptop and like nothing's coming to me.
You get that writer's
But
block?
that writer's block, and I'm just like, and especially so if I interview someone, I try to get the article up within a week or 2 weeks. If I know it's going to take longer, I'll let them know, especially if maybe they want the article posted around like a certain launch of a product or something along those lines. But if I'm just writing something where I didn't interview anyone and there's no like other pressure, it can sometimes take a month. Like it takes me a month to write like a travel article because I don't remember everything, or I just don't think it's good enough, or I just, again, didn't have that creative energy. Yeah. But I do have an editor in Connecticut, Stephanie. So all the articles go sent to her and she edits them. And one of the things I do is once she edits them, I just do a brief reading. I don't go back and rewrite it, especially if something I wrote, because you could get sort of lost in that. Keep writing, rewriting, keep writing, rewriting. And it's just like, you know what? Just post it. Just put it up there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you find it difficult whenever you write travel posts? Do you find it difficult to make the time or the effort to gather content while you're on vacation?
Well, I'm gonna get real close to you guys. Yes, because when you're on vacation, you just want to relax. You know, you just want to enjoy your mojito on the beach, or you want to just like, you know, walk around like the cities in Europe. You just want to enjoy your life. However, if I know I want to write about that trip, because there's some trips I take where I didn't write about them. I'll just write notes in my phone or in a notebook, but like notes like, the restaurant we went to, the name of it, and maybe what we ate or the show we saw. I wouldn't completely write the article there. I take a lot of photos while I'm there. That way it reminds me of what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it. And then when I get home, then I can decide, do I want to give a whole recap of the trip, or do I want to just talk about like one part in particular?
That's awesome. So it's a mixture of like note taking and gathering content in like picture format before you actually do it. So I know you've mentioned your hubby quite a bit on your social media. Sometimes we see him make little appearances here and there, but for the most part, he kind of stays behind the scenes, behind the camera. And I know because I got to meet you guys when you came last month, he's great at taking your photos. It's almost like he knows all your right angles. He knows the content that you want. How does he feel, or how does he react to being kind of that behind the scenes guy? Like, is he just an amazing hubby who is okay with his wife getting all the time?
Like, that's a good question. How does he feel about being like an Instagram hubby sometimes?
Instagram hubby.
The funny thing is, I think he's so photogenic, but he doesn't like to be in photos, and it takes a lot for me to convince him to be in a video, even though I think he is very photogenic and can actually speak really well in front of the camera. So that's always been our relationship, though, our dynamic. My jobs, even in the nonprofit role, and before that, when I was interning at radio stations and media companies while I was still in college, because when we met, I was still in college, he already graduated. My career was always more creative, so I always got invited to these different events, and he would come along. His world is very like corporate. He works finance. If you guys don't know, does like revenue analysis. That's his world. I wish I could tell you what that entails.
Mm-hmm.
I just know he does a lot of Excel. So he's still a big part of the magazine because he does a lot of the business part of it. He gives a lot of feedback. He does, helps out with the business plan. He's managed interns in the past. But he does tasks and roles that fit his skill set. But he's very more of an executor, and I could spend all day, every day creating ideas. Mm-hmm. And so he's really good at like, okay, we have to pull the trigger on one of these ideas here.
That sounds
So
like
we
a
sort of
great
have a,
partnership, actually.
yeah, and it just worked out that way those are just our personalities
Hmm.
and they just mesh really well.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah. This is the first time I did an interview on like on my floor.
there's a first time for everything. And for those of
Yeah.
y'all that just started watching, I just want to give you a quick introduction. I have Nicole from Epifania Magazine. We're doing our first ever co-live where we're both simultaneously on camera. And I wanted to bring this interview over to my talk show, my Facebook talk show, Livin Latina, but it was not cooperating, so we ended up doing it on our personal account. So welcome.
Mhm.
Thank you for watching. Give us that share and that thumbs up if you like what you're listening to. And as
Yeah.
always, thank you so much for everybody's support. But I wanted to ask you to, if you had a magic wand and you could just wave that magic wand and you can make whatever you wanted happen, where do you see Epifania Magazine in 5 years?
In 5 years, I definitely do want a teen magazine. I've been talking about a teen magazine for years. I want a teen magazine focus on young girls. I want it to be written by teens, so that will require me to do a lot of partnerships with high schools and all the legal, the legal things that go along with that. I can't think of the word. So that's what I really want to do because I think it's just really important to tell teenager stories and to remind people that teenagers have fears and anxiety, and it's such a weird time. I also want for myself for the magazine for it to be known as like a premier lifestyle magazine. I know in 5 years it's not going to be a like Vogue or Vanity Fair status. That's
Mm-hmm.
just realistic. But I want it to get closer to that point. And I want for myself to be known as like, an entrepreneur in the media world and be invited to speak at like Blog Her and then also maybe like Teen Vogue Summit, like things along those lines.
That's amazing. Can I ask you why specifically teens? What do you think
Yeah.
draws you to that?
So I do a lot of public speaking at high schools. It's just been a way that I like to give back to the community. So working in the nonprofit sector, I worked a lot in the education side and I working with volunteers and donors. So my role was always like out there in the community doing public speaking. And
Awesome.
yeah, and I really enjoyed that part of my career, getting to meet all these different groups. But one of the groups I enjoyed talking to was high school students, because sometimes we need high school students as volunteers, right? And how they
Uh-huh.
could give back. And high school students, there's so much going on there, from who am I going to prom with to like, am I wearing enough makeup? Am I not wearing enough makeup? And every heartbreak, every acne breakout, every bad test score is shown then also on social media. So there's more anxiety.
Yeah.
And one of the first interviews I ever did years back was of my younger sister Sierra. She's 21 now. At the time, she was like 16, I believe. And a day in the life of a high school student, basically. And what I didn't realize, as for her, we live in a pretty safe. My parents live in a pretty safe town. It's like suburban town, but having a fear of like, well, schools are getting shot up, and there's that fear.
Yeah.
And so having all of that, and then still your body's still growing, and you just don't really know like um how to adjust with all those changes. So
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted a magazine where those fears and anxieties will be validated, their voices will be heard, and people won't just cast them aside as just teenagers.
I love that because you do
Yeah.
you do tend to, I think, as society and like as we get older, you kind of forget that when you're living that moment, whenever you're in high school, everything is just so dramatic. Like, like you said, every breakup, every acne breakout, it's so torturous for you. Like, and in that moment, you feel like, oh, I'm never gonna get over this. I'm never gonna, do this. Like, it's such a dramatic and
Hmm.
overly exposed time of your life that I think that once you start to get a little bit older and once we get over that stage, you kind of forget what it felt like to be there. But yeah, high school can definitely be crazy, and I wanna applaud you for that. I want to applaud you for wanting to reach out to the youth and wanting to be someone that can relate to them and be supportive. And you know what? I think that you might just be that one person that can get through to them, or you might be that, motivation for someone in the high school to want to move on to something they were dreaming about, or even if it's just a hobby. Like, that's amazing that you want to reach out to them and be that support system. That's really, really
Thank
cool.
you. And I think there's a lot of organizations in just local high schools. If any of the viewers want, you guys could just reach out to your local high school, and they're always looking for different speakers and different organizations. Because I think students constantly need to be reminded that there's multiple life paths. That's something else I realized when I talk to high school students. They have it in their head still that they have to choose that one job
Yeah,
and like stick with it, and they get so scared that they're gonna choose the wrong job or the wrong school. And I'm like, honey, like that 35-year-old that you think is successful, they changed their mind like 10 times. Like,
I'm
you're
sure.
fine.
Yeah, we change our mind on the daily now. Like, one day
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm doing this, and you're like, no. By lunchtime you could be doing something completely different. So that's very, very
Yeah.
cool. So how about we talked about your 5-year plan from now to then, or maybe even later. Do you ever foresee Epifania Magazine being like an actual hard copy, or do you want to keep it into the digital world?
So, I do like the digital world. I am a millennial at heart, like, and I enjoy being a millennial. Like, I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are like, I don't want to be called millennial. I'm like, I'll embrace it. That's what I am. Um, I do want to have a hard copy because, I do miss production and working with graphic designers and making things look pretty. But I want to keep it for like 5-year, 10-year mark anniversaries
Just special
because
occasions?
special occasions, and maybe do like an event around it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, I know for me growing up, I loved reading Vogue and Vanity Fair and 17. Those were my magazines. And my mom, if I was having a bad day because, I'm in high school and I didn't get this boy I like doesn't like me. Uh, so, she will get me a magazine and some chocolates, and
That's
I
so
would just devour.
sweet.
Yeah, I would just devour that magazine. But I'm, you know, 32 now, and I don't buy a hard copy magazine anymore. I read Vanity Fair and Vogue online.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think my readers, if they're not buying those copies online, why would they buy my magazine online
Yeah.
or a hard copy?
That's a good way to think
So
about it, because whenever you said I don't buy those magazines anymore, you see it online. I am too. I'm like a scroller. I'll read. I notice that I do most of my reading on my iPad, whether it's like digital downloads of books or articles and stuff online. And
mhm.
you just brought up a good question. When was the last time you bought a DVD, like an actual DVD, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't bought a DVD. Now everything is just so easily
Yes,
accessible, downloadable. App. It's
yeah,
I think you're on the right track with that, because everything is turning digital and virtual now,
mhm.
and I honestly also think it's good for the environment. Do you really want a publication that might end up getting thrown away? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and a lot of people just don't recycle, and yeah, and then for the DVD, I know we recently bought a DVD because the hubby actually likes, he's so impatient,
mhm.
so he'll just get the DVD. And I don't know, I forgot which movie he bought recently on DVD, because I think sometimes, like, in that scenario with DVDs and stuff, we do occasionally get them because sometimes the Chromecast isn't working. Like today, technology wasn't working, so
When
you have to
technology is a
you have to
hater.
go like old school.
That's so
So yeah,
crazy. But oh my goodness, Nicole, I want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. And more than anything, I want to thank you for being so patient, because as we
it's
did
out there.
mention, technology was just not our friend today. You stuck by
No.
me though, and you kept trying with me. So thank you so much for this interview. And as always, we have shameless plug time. Is there
Hmm.
anything you want to insert here? Any information you want to get our viewers and our followers, maybe how they can reach you or anything you have upcoming that you want to give us a little preview on?
Yes. So you guys could definitely reach me here on Facebook. You guys can message me here. You guys can message me on Instagram. I would love a couple things. One, feedback on just the content of the magazine. We're going through a change where we're trying to figure out like what are like the favorite topics for people.
Okay.
So any times you guys want to see that. And then also I will be sharing, if you guys I'm doing a video with Clastige, Christina from Clastige, and it's all about like sexuality. We're doing a lot of collaborations around that topic.
Cool.
So if you guys could watch it on YouTube, that would be great.
I really enjoyed the one you did with your friend, Brown Girls, Sex, and
yeah, that's Christina. We're gonna do a second video. We did a second video together. So her and I, we do a lot of collaborations. And the cool thing, like, what I like about collaborations is sometimes you could talk about topics that you don't always get to talk about because maybe the purpose of your publication or your online persona doesn't go with that topic. So I really enjoy working with her. She lives 20 minutes away, so it's easy to work with her. You know?
Cool. So for all your collaborations and your anything you have upcoming, what's the best place to reach you? Would it be Facebook or directly on your website?
You know, Facebook, Instagram, or the website. The website also has my email address. If you guys really want like a fast response, like you have an article idea, definitely email me. But if you just wanted to maybe collab, like Facebook, but.
Awesome. So we're going to link her information at the end of this video. We're going to link it up into the description box, and I'll put your publication website, your magazine website, and I'll link her Facebook page so that you guys can reach out to her if you see anything on the magazine that you just want to like give her thumbs up for. That's a great way to do it. Thank you again so much, Nicole. Oh, before I forget, I have a little shameless plug myself.
Yes.
So as always, you guys know that House of Alice Rose, I share with my boo Izzy. So we picked our anniversary winner. She's been picked, and now we're just kind of gathering all the information and all the goodies so that we can send over that gift basket to her. Flies be gone, please. But also this weekend on Sunday, we scored our first ever speaking engagement on behalf of House of Alice Rose. So Izzy and I are actually going to be joining Carrie from Brunch in the City on Sunday. And if you haven't gotten your tickets, I think there's still a couple left if you want to check them out. I'll link the event information on the description as well. And if you guys want to check us out and come support us, we're going to be her speakers this weekend. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be our first ever, I know, it's our first ever speaking engagement, and I'm excited about that. But thank you again so much, Nicole. Thank you, everybody that actually was patient enough and waited for us to do this interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your wine, Nicole. Thank you so much.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.